The first time I ventured onto the dark web, I was 16 and curious. It started as a way to buy weed discreetly, a suggestion from a friend who swore it was safer than dealing with someone behind the school. At first, it was harmless enough. A few clicks, a few purchases. But soon, the allure of the forbidden pulled me deeper. I found myself awake at 3 a.m., scrolling through corners of the internet I never imagined existed. Videos of satanic cults, murder footage, and twisted forums became my nightly ritual. I knew it was sick, but I couldn't stop. 6 months after my first dive, I stumbled across something different. A post titled "Looking for Workers. Hitmen Needed." It was almost too ridiculous to believe, but curiosity got the better of me. I managed to get the contact email and sent a message, half-jokingly. I didn't expect a reply. 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed around midnight. I answered, and a male voice, maybe in his early 30s, whispered, "Check your email." Then he hung up. My heart raced. I opened my inbox, and there it was, a long, detailed message. Most of it was a blur, but the part I remember said, "We know where you live. You've been accepted. Meet on Highway 9 at 3 a.m. Come alone." I was terrified. I considered ignoring it, but fear of what might happen if I didn't show up kept me up. At 2:30 a.m., I set an alarm, pulled on a hoodie, and drove to the location. The spot was isolated, surrounded by forest. I parked and waited. A car pulled up behind me. I stepped out, my palms sweating. A woman emerged from the driver's side, tall and sharp-featured, probably in her 40s. She smiled like we were old friends. "I'm Lisa," she said, handing me a folder. "You'll know what to do." We made small talk for a few minutes, the most normal conversation I'd had in weeks. As she left, I felt like I was in some twisted dream. Back at home, I opened the folder. Inside was everything about a woman named Anna Smith. Her address, daily routine, favorite color. She was strikingly beautiful, with long black hair and green eyes, but tattoos covered most of her body. A few days later, I followed her home and slipped poison into her food. It felt easy. When I Googled her name later, I froze. 2 years ago, remains of a child were found in her trash. She denied involvement, and without evidence, the case was dropped. It made sense now. That was my first job. It's been 5 years since, and I've taken over 200 lives. I bought a house, a new car, and became someone else. I'm not proud, but I tell myself every target had it coming. Last night, Lisa called me again. This time, her tone was colder. "Meet me at the parking lot near your house," she said. When I arrived, she didn't even step out of her car. She just handed me the folder through the window and drove away. I opened it at home. Inside was a photo of my father. My heart stopped. My dad, the man who raised me, the one I trusted the most. I skimmed the personal details until I found the reason for the hit. A little girl at his school came home with bloody underwear. When her mother asked what happened, the girl said, "Mr. Daniel wanted to play a fun game with me." I felt sick. He wasn't just my father. He was a predator. Tears streamed down my face as I thought about my 2 little sisters and older brother. How long had this been going on? Had he touched me as a child? I wanted to scream, vomit, break everything. But I didn't. Instead, I drove to his house. "Surprise," I said, faking a smile as he opened the door. We chatted. I told him I needed help with something. When he turned to get me a glass of water, I struck him with a bat, hard. He collapsed. I tied him up and waited for him to wake. When he did, I started with his feet, peeling the skin slowly, methodically. I cut his toes off one by one. Blood pooled around the bed. I stabbed his chest, neck, stomach, until he finally stopped breathing. I soaked the house in gasoline, lit a cigarette, and tossed the lighter onto the porch. I watched it burn for a few seconds before driving away. The next morning, my aunt called. "Your father's house caught fire last night," she said through tears. "He's gone." I attended the funeral, standing by his grave after everyone left. I spat on the dirt and walked away with a grin. Lisa called the next day. "Good work," she said simply. "I still work for her. I never regretted it. Some people deserve to die, and if I've learned anything, it's this: never trust anyone, even the people closest to you."